Get ready for the Very Visible Business Podcast with David Avrin. Each week featuring a candid and raucous conversation with some of the most innovative, outspoken, and entrepreneurial business minds in the world today. This is the Very Visible Business Podcast. And here's David Avrin.
And welcome to the Very Visible Business Podcast. I'm David Avrin, and I am super stoked today to be joined by my friend, my colleague, I don't know. What do you do when you genuflect in front of somebody that you admire so much? But he's a great guy. Let me give you a quick introduction, then we'll talk to him specifically. Jeffrey Hayzlett is the chairman and CEO of the C-Suite Network, primetime TV and podcast host, Hall of Fame speaker, global business celebrity, best-selling author of 3 business books. And his next book coming out in November, coming out soon. We might be listening to this after the fact. It's already out, but look it up online. It is The Hero Factor: How Great Leaders Transform Organizations and Create Winning Cultures. Jeffrey, how are you, my friend?
I am doing great. I'm sitting here in my home office of South Dakota. I'm finally home. I say home. It's not my home office. It's my office back in my hometown of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, which I'm rarely there, but I'm so excited to be here. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I see everywhere. You got a big presence in New York and a big staff as well. But yeah. I would love following you online recently that you actually took some time for you.
Yeah.
And hung out in Ireland.
Yeah, back in the home country. And my family immigrated to the United States back in 1757. I had an uncle and my grandfather, both immigrated here in 1757, landed in Philadelphia, stayed there and outside of Delaware for a little while, and then made their way to West Virginia. And then we migrated across the country, and I ended up here in South Dakota.
Now, do you have a good sense of your lineage? Have you done like the 23andMe or the Ancestry.com and spit in the tube and found out some things that you didn't?
Oh, yeah. I had a spit party. That's what we called it. And my wife and I both done it. She's like Norwegian and Dane, so she doesn't even have branches of the tree. It's just a trunk. Okay, yeah. That's all. She's from what? I'm a compilation of lots of things. I am mostly Irish. The majority is Irish, but I have a little Basque. I have a little bit of Jewish ancestry from way back, and then 1/10 of 1% East African, or West African, which explains my dancing a great deal.
Right there, you go. I'm pretty happy. I did mine. It was a complete shock. I was looking for how much of a mutt am I? I'm a little bit of this, and I came back 99% Ashkenazi Jewish.
Really? No, Ashkenazi. That's I didn't know how to say it. So
that's what it is.
Yeah,
what's interesting is our friend and colleague Bruce Turkel has the exact same lineage. Like he and I.
Bruce Turkel, I thought he was Cuban.
No, I know everybody does. He's the same thing. We actually came from the same small village that had come up from the Middle East into this remote Eastern European valley in Ukraine, Crimea, right in there, and never left. I mean, like literally. Yeah. They didn't bang anybody outside of the tribe for 900 years. Yeah. No traveling salespeople, no anything else. And my parents are both, so it's fascinating. So at some point, I
have a teeny tiny bit of that. Maybe that's why we like each other. We're so close. But it's like, how the hell did that get in there? I was like, whoa, because but Irish, we probably had an Irish pub there. Who knows?
Right, and then a great grandfather who owned the bank somewhere. So
that's cool. Well, at 23andMe, I have a good friend Linda Avey, who was one of the co-founders of that company. Went to college with her at Augustana College, which is now Augustana University in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So go figure.
It's unbelievable. That's a whole other conversation. But what people are finding and people who were family secrets or sperm donors, I mean, it's crazy.
Oh, yeah. It's funny. I've done the family history stuff before. And just a side note, we're getting off on this. But what the heck, it gives us a sense of who we are. Sure. I'm kind of like the keeper of the family history because I just have always wanted to know and have uncovered some secrets in the family. And of course, those are very interesting things. Do you tell your cousin that that wasn't her father's
wasn't your dad marriage?
Yeah, and stuff like that. So I've been faced with that ethical dilemma in finding these things out. And then having to tell some family members about this.
Well, we talk about lineage and things like that as well. And one of my favorite things, because of course you're really busy. We're going to talk about the C-Suite Network. We're going to talk about the TV, the radio, the books, and that growing empire. But one of my favorite things in following you is that you and I have in common is that we're so connected to family, and I love watching you with your grandkids. And for you, that seems to be your downtime is when you get to play grandpa.
Well, we get to do it right. We no offense, but we kind of screw up on our kids a little bit because it's kind of reversed. I wish I would have my children much later in life.
Right.
And I'm not saying I screwed up. I just could have been, we all realize we could be better. We always realize we could be better. I'm not regretful of what I've done or how I've done it because I've broken a lot of cycles in my own family history and my own family upbringing, the way in which I was brought up compared to the way my children were brought up. But now with my grandchildren, I get to have a bigger input, and I get an opportunity to and it's very primal. I mean, and I know you love your daughter and your son. I love to see pictures. I think you just got back from father.
I got 3 of them. I was with my daughter's college. But yeah, we love.
I get confused how many people everybody's got, how many kids they got. But I do know that you do love your children a great deal, and I love to see that with you. Even when you go camping with your son, although I would not call that real camping. Okay, I know you guys go do that, but I'm like,
it's not glamping. It's not like we're in a yurt or a cabin.
I got it, but it's still, you're going, I like go to the remote places where no one's at. That's my kind of camping.
Yeah, there's enough pictures of you on your horse and everything else. We got that. Hey, listen, let's talk about business for a second.
Sure.
Talk to me about a little bit about your journey, but I think people are more interested in what's going on now in sort of this burgeoning C-suite network empire.
Well, we're building the C-suite network. When I left Kodak as a chief marketing officer, one of the things that I really, really liked and enjoyed was the opportunity to be with other C-suite leaders. And when I was with other C-suite leaders, I found we opened up, we took the armor off, and we had really frank discussions, which allowed me to really, grow. Like I could figure out, well, how'd you do this, or how'd you do this, or how'd you do this, and vice versa. They would come to me for advice because I was stripping stuff out like crazy, trying to save billions of dollars, because I was managing $17 billion budget at the time. And so, so that led me to think, well, how can I do that? And then I did a television show on Bloomberg where I was taking people inside the C-suite. That was the name of my television show.
I remember watching, I think I watched it on United Airlines.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, well, we're still on United Airlines. Yeah. So that led me to say, hey, I could go do this. I can go build this, and I'm going to build on my own. And I had to decide between fame and fortune. I chose fortune, but we get a little famous as we go along the way if you do it really right. If you don't, you can always buy your fame if you want that, but I don't care because I'm just me, and I always try to be me. But we're now we're doing the Hero Club. We have all these councils. We have the advisors. We have C-Suite TV, C-Suite Radio, C-Suite Book Club. We're about to announce C-Suite Publishing, C-Suite Academy. For training and courses. And so we're going to have all these different pieces. And we just bought .ceo. So we're involved with that too. So we own the top level domain .ceo. And we're out promoting it and selling it and pushing it, and just in the 2 weeks we got it, we're 10x in sales. So we're creating an ecosystem, a community. Because I'm a real believer. Somebody said, what's the new thing? And I went up and I drew a circle on the board. I said, that's the new thing. Like the circle, like what is it, a hula hoop or whatever? Remember, if you ever saw that movie, the Hudsucker Proxies or whatever?
Proxy, yeah.
That's what that was. And I drew the circle, and they go, "What's this?" I said, "This is community." So you want to make it big, you want to make it small, but this is your community. And if you put as much in the community and you nurture it, then that's it. That's the thing. Because if you want to have a broadcast show, if you want to have a podcast now, you want to have this, you want to monetize your tribe, monetize your community, you got to build a community. And you got to nurture it, and it's holistic in its approach. Right. And so that's the new thing, and that's the thing. And that's always been the old thing, but now it's the new thing because it's tougher to break through on the messages, David, as you well know. It used to be easy. You used to have a mailing list. You used to have this. Now you got this, and there's all this competition for all this stuff. And you want to get on the cell phone. You want to get on their mobile phone. You want to get on their most personal device there is. So how do you do that? Well, you have to be invited. And to be invited, you got to nurture the relationship. So you have to be engaged in that. And so that's why I say the circle, the community. Right.
But you have to be present on multiple platforms as well. I mean, talk to me about both the synergy and the vehicles and the venues. I mean, today,
and repetition. So I call it step and repeat. You have to step and repeat, but you have to be where the people are when they want it. That's what you have to do. And so that's not an easy thing to do. So, but you have to do it. You can't just say,
but Jeffrey, you're finding it more is not just building a tribe of followers, but they have involvement through platforms as well, right?
Yeah, no, I said the word community. Community means community. It means we all have a role to play or get the hell out, because if you're not going to play the role, I don't want you in the community. I don't want you in my town. I'm going to vote you off the island. And so, so it's a community. So it gives and takes, and everybody benefits. Everybody does what they do. If you've ever gone, if you went real camping with a lot of other people, I'm just going to give you shit for the rest of the day. I don't know can I swear on your podcast?
You can do whatever you want.
I swear on mine. So
let's be real.
Yeah, no, but my point is everybody's got the chore. Everybody's got the duty, right? So one of us is doing breakfast, one's doing lunch. Well, one of us got to pick up the stuff, one of us got to zip up the tent, one of us got to do the thing. That's the thing you have to have in a community. So
right.
It's a village too.
But what's interesting?
Kind of get back to Hillary Clinton. It takes a village. I don't know. Is that what?
No, well, you can say it. But here's the thing that's kind of interesting, and here's where it's sort of counterintuitive, or maybe counter what conventional wisdom used to say, which is you don't spread yourself too thin. You got to focus on. But today, when you look at the multiple platforms that people communicate, they engage, they connect with, that they seek information from, they seek connection with, you have to be in multiple places. I'm not saying that you're going to do the C-suite cafe next, but then again, I knew there was going to be a light bulb over your head. Yeah, and it's an internet cafe, and they're going to be meeting rooms and everything else. Maybe it will work. But one of the things that I really appreciate—
That's just dorky.
I know. As I've watched this grow, it all makes sense. Every brand extension, which in yesteryear meant dilution, today it means reinforcement, doesn't it?
Right, exactly. So as we have C-Suite Book, C-Suite Academy, C-Suite, all these things, they're entry points. And if you just want to stay there, you can. But if you want to also link to these other things, here are the things that will help you grow. Here are they help you engage, or to get to meet other C-Suite executives, or to meet other people. Or for some people who are trusted advisors, it's a way for you to be able to meet those people to, expand your business. So it's a very synergistic thing. And what we have to do is be very clear in our community is we only let those that are qualified to come in. So it's not to be that we don't want you. It just means, look, we just kind of know what this is. I'll give you a great example, our Hero Club. So if you think about CEOs, the CEOs fit all quadrants that you would set forth in personality types, right? You would find them. And so every expert tells me that if I were to take a test of CEOs, they would go in each of the quadrants, and they'd be dispersed fairly equally. Some are more analytic, some are more drivers, some are more,
some are more entrepreneurial, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, we have a hero group, which is dedicated based on values. And we recently did a personality test of all the people in our hero club. And the expert was telling me, no, it's going to be dispersed. I said, nope, it's not.
Nope,
and they said, it's going to be dispersed. And everybody was in one quadrant, everybody. And it was like, not like 90%, everybody, okay? Not like 60%, everybody. And so we found a like-minded group. And so what
was that quadrant? Explain that. What was the qualities that they were demonstrating or manifesting that spurred them to want to be involved in this?
They were all fixers. They're fixers. That's what the way that she describes it. It's Dr. Rachel Headley. She's one of our Hero Club members.
Right.
She's a immense rocket. She's truly a rocket scientist. She's working at NASA. Right. And so she's got this new quadrant that you can really measure different types of teams and measure optimum performance of those teams and how they implement innovation. Okay. And everybody was in what we call the fixer category, which they just get right down to it, see it, let's go do it, and immediately start to work. And so it talks about her method and the way of her doing it. The Rose Group, you should look it up, is a way in which how do you put the innovation, how do you put an innovation process into your business? So it was actually really, really cool to be able to see that and see all those. Now, in my book, The Hero Factor, I've actually created a hero intensity chart, a way in which you can determine your own hero factor, how much you have, how much your business has. And because some of us would put us there's operational excellence, there's hero values, there's do-gooders, and those are the people that do really good but don't make a lot of money. And then there's those the ass hats or losers, who they don't have any values and they lose a crap load of money.
Right.
Now, I love companies like GE up in this quadrant way over here, and Walmart and so forth. They're operational excellence, but they don't have great values. They're not taking care of the community. Sure, they do what they have to do. They contribute so much, but that's a calculated deal. It's a calculated.
Right.
How much
it's
can
not
they
ingrained in who they are. It's
exactly.
more strategic in what they do.
Yeah, as opposed to our Hero Club, which in our Hero CEOs, these are entrepreneurial CEOs who really care about the community. These are the people that you look at that pay for the symphony, pay for the Little League, make sure their team is taking off enough time, might be doing extra things for their team. They care about their community. They care about the people that work for them. And when they exit, they're going to make sure that they are rewarded as well. That's the whole Hero Club. And so we're trying to move more and more CEOs into that category. Where most CEOs I do know are already there. It's just at what level of intensity are you on the chart? And we find that the more people who are along these values of sharing and more along these values of sharing the credit, sharing the money, sharing in pain and gain, we see a higher value for their own company.
Right. Let me ask you this. As we're talking to others who are listening to this or watching this right now, and they're looking and seeing this as certainly a model to aspire to and building that kind of a community, how do you guard against, because you want to cast a fairly wide net, at least to have some choices, how do you guard against creating nothing more than a giant chamber of commerce where everybody's hitting each other up for business, which we know we can build in, we can bring the numbers in, people who are certainly looking to make connections, looking to find and build their business, but you're also going to drive away the quality people because they don't want to be in that environment. How do you create a structure to guard against?
Kick them out. You kick them out. I mean, look, we're very clear. I've had some people we've sit down and we're very, very, we go through a rigorous process to get you in, and you have to present your credentials. And we have a pre-interview with you to say, are you hero? Are you a hero? Not so much are you a hero individually, but is your business a hero? And what is the reason why you're doing it? So when we make you sign a pledge that says you'll do these things, right, and you're about that, that's a little bit more than just selling. But when I've had people who've sat across from me just last week, two different individuals, CEOs, great people. Great people. And they said, well, how much business can I expect to see from this? I said, if that's what you're asking me, you're not ready to join this organization. And I'm not going to take your money. I'm not going to.
It's not that we expect people are doing it from a purely altruistic perspective. I mean, we're all trying to build our business, granted. Yeah. But we've been in those dynamics, those situations where it's just like, I mean, in my mind, I will tell you, and you tell me what you think about this. I think LinkedIn is there's so many positive things about LinkedIn right now, but I think it's struggling, and that anybody that you accept, they immediately hit you up for business, and it's like, dude, it's like, buy me dinner before you try and get in my pants.
Yeah. At least a glass of wine, scotch.
But it's constantly being hit up, and we've watched this more from LinkedIn originally, sort of meeting the people you want to meet through the people you already know, and now it's sort of Facebook for business people. Yeah. But it's just become so sleazy that I am hit up, as you probably are as well. Anybody that you say yes to, they hit you up for business well, most of them are, it's automated. Right? It's automated.
Well, they're automated. There's so many tools that you can get for that. And you got to be very careful how you approach it, how you do it.
And that's not community, is it?
It's not. It's a network connection. It's a linking. That's what LinkedIn is. So it doesn't have the vetting that you need in order to get you to the level. I mean, we know that primarily by just what email address you use.
Right.
Most people are using their fake email address or their Yahoo or their .edu or something else. They're not using their main email address because of that same thing. So I send messages to people, the people say, is this you really writing it? Yes, it's me. And I'm sending it to you. I'm trying to get through to you, but I can't even get through to you. And it's weeks after an event or weeks after I want to have you at these places. So yeah, it's really changed the way in the landscape in which,
Let me ask you this. As you were sort of creating and you're envisioning the natural growth of this network and multi platforms, how much of this vetting process that you're talking about now it was reactive, as recognizing you were maybe attracting some people who wanted a piece of you, but they weren't really givers, and how much of that was strategic from the outset?
It was from the beginning. We knew that we were going to really be selective in the way we have. Now, sometimes you're not as selective as you like to be, and sometimes people squeeze through. I mean, we once had a gal who was a fortune teller and psychic who applied to come to the event, and she got through, and of course there it was on the list 2 days before the event. And I'm looking at it, going through the list.
What the hell is this?
Yeah, how did this get on? And then I said to the team, you got to call her and uninvite her. And they go, well, that's not right. I said, yeah, she's a psychic. She knows it's coming.
Yeah, even better.
So he's the best.
That's like when you see the fortune tellers out of business. Like, she should have known.
She should have known.
She should have known.
Should have known. But I want to get back to this comment that you said about people taking. I don't want takers. We don't want to be around takers. No one wants to be around takers. And, I was inducted into the Speaker Hall of Fame a few years ago.
I was there. It was a glorious night.
It was a really cool night. But there was another speaker who won a big award, the Spirit of Cabinet Award, which is a big award for the association. It was Gary Rifkin. And Gary Rifkin got up and he said, in his speech, he says, "I'm a giver," and he is a giver. Everybody knows Gary, he gives. But he quoted a famous other speaker. I can't remember the person's name, but I'm gonna give Gary credit for it. He said, "If you give, you get."
Yep.
And I want to be surrounded with executives who are like that. And so, me, I answer everybody's email, answer everybody's thing. I even get on forums sometimes that I'm participating and doing stuff. People say, "What the hell are you doing this for?" Because I got real lucky in my life. I got to do what I get to do for the way I get to do it, and I get paid for it. Awesome. Not everybody has that ability. So let's see what we can do to help somebody else. And I find the more I do of that, the better it is for me too. And I always get something out of it. Not that that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking to really help, or, because most of us, like for what I do it for free. But getting paid is how we keep score. Right. So, but I would really do it for free. And, right. And I just find but I also find executives are like that. C-suite executives are like that. And if you give them the opportunity to give, they'll give right. To you. They'll give you knowledge, information, a contact. And our Hero Clubs, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Once you put the quarter in, I go for the full ride.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, so, but, like when we sit around the Hero Club, one of the things that we do around the Hero Club is, what can you do for somebody else in the room?
Right.
We do. We spend time on that. And people always are volunteering. Now, we always ask, did you get what you wanted out of the meeting? And if you didn't, what is it you wanted that we didn't get accomplished for you? We always ask that. But I always ask, what can you give back? I watched one of our guys, Craig Shelley, company called Craig Shelley, and they make very, very expensive luxury watches, and all kinds of other things. And he said, "Look, I have these watches. I will give them to any charity that any of you want." And 4 people took him up on it. Right. And in the meeting. And so, he didn't have to do that, but that's good for his business too. He knows that's good for his business because they're going to highlight it. They're going to sell it, going to make a lot of money for charity. And he gets to talk about his watch too. There's nothing wrong with that. That's pretty cool. But
I'll throw you that the cynics who are listening or watching this right now will say, well, of course you can afford to do something for free because you have built this. And your response would be what?
To give your time, give your expertise.
Because it helps get you to where you are, that you have the freedom.
Hell yes.
What do they say? The most powerful word in the English language is no. And be able to be in a position, and I'm fortunate to be there as well, is to say no to the kinds of things. I just gave up. I just said no to literally over last night. They wanted me to go speak to the Bank of Muscat in Oman, and amazing opportunity and a big paycheck. But I wasn't qualified to do it. I could have done it. They wanted to get ready for this CX certification. I could have spent a little bit extra time, but I wouldn't have killed it. And I don't do anything unless I'm going to kill it. I'm going to be there anyway. I'm going to be in Dubai. But to be able to say no, because I want to take that back to what we were talking about, building the community, because we're talking about being selective, because I think it's all tied in together. How do you overcome, or how do we help others overcome this mindset of scarcity? That they're going to go after the kind of things that may not be the best for them because they want the money from it. People will build organizations and build communities and membership thing, and they'll take almost anybody's money because it's their money. But there's an inadvertent
I hate those
downside,
guys.
isn't it?
I hate those guys. I watch people in this particular marketplace who have these masterminds, and they show, here's the secret behind door number 1 or door number 1, and sign up. And then you get there, and then they say, well, the real secret's behind door number 2. And pretty soon these people are into it for $100,000, and they don't have anything. I can't stand that. So with all due respect for those people that are watching and are listening right now, take the time to really get to understand and see what the deliverables are, and what does that guru, what does that thought leader have in terms of tangible results real tangible results. Check that out. Take the time to do that.
And what value would they give to others as well? Because you and I are both in sort of that business of building community. I spent some years as a Vistage chair, and I was very, very good at signing members to my group. And of course, I come to learn later on what constitutes a good member. And bad members will drive away good members.
Oh, big time.
You can avoid that mindset of scarcity on the front end. I love the fact that you talk about how you're really vetting those prospects. They've got to be in the right mindset. They have to be of value to everybody else, because everybody else in the group is looking who else is here.
Yeah, nobody wants a Debbie Downer. Nobody wants a Debbie Downer. And the other thing we find out in these communities, here's the cool thing. And it's really tough when you're building these things. So if you're building like a mastermind, you're building what I call council. If you're building this community, take it times 500,000 people like our organization.
Sure.
Everybody that comes in wants to do one thing. They want to punch above their weight. So right. they want to always know that there's someone else that's bigger, big name, so they can feel like they're like that, or that they can aspire to. And right. So if you're only going to be as good in your organization as your lowest common denominator. The same thing holds true with your business.
Absolutely.
You can only move as fast as your slowest person. You can only move as good as the lowest quality person, that you have in your operation. You can only be, articulate as the least spoken person. I mean, that's all part of what you have to have. So you have to continue to up it. And when you get it here, you have to have it here. When you get it here, you got to have it here. And when you get it here, that's what has to occur, or people will lose interest. They drop out. They don't want to be a part of it because it's not taking care of their needs. Right.
Well, and then you have a sustainability issue. Here's how I do exactly what you're talking about, is when I have an organization, whether it's a round table, whether it's a CEO group or anything else, the criteria for membership for anybody past the founding members is every person you add has to be above the medium.
Yep.
Right? So you look at what's the average, whether it's in terms of experience or contribution or income, everybody that you bring in has to be above the 50%. And that's how you continue to build it up.
Without question. And by the way, your tribe, your community will help you make sure that happens, right? And build that up. If you can get them to bring in the kind of members that you want, they're not, like right now, we've got our Hero Club members who are all bringing in unbelievable members. Well, they're bringing in people that are like them, which is awesome, because if you got a good base, you get an even better base, right?
Right. Are you incentivizing that?
No.
Commission structure or anything else? Good for you.
Yeah. That's all we did. They said they actually, here's what they'd said. It's very cool. This is that whole mindset of giving. And these are executives. These are billion-dollar.
More than that, Jeffrey. I'll tell you, it's more than they feel like it's their group.
Totally.
Right.
So, but here's what they said to me. They said, Jeffrey, what is it we can do for you? And I was taken back. I said, you know what you can do for me? You could bring in another member. If everybody in this room just brought in one member or two members, we would double in size.
Right.
Can you commit to that? Can you commit? And then I put a time limit, because I said, can you commit to that in the next 30 days? And I said, I'm going to follow up with each and every one of you in the next 30 days. Can you commit to it? Is there anyone that can't commit to that? And if you can't, I understand. I'm okay with that. Then raise your hand so I know. And no hands went up.
Right. Well, because the other thing is that community becomes a catalyst for conformity, right? You set the bar here. Anybody who doesn't. I love that scene. What was the movie in Big? All right. Tom Hanks, he gets a job, right? And he's sitting next to John Lovitz. Do you remember the character?
Oh, yeah.
He gets a job, and he's typing away, and he's really excited. And John's like, hey, slow down. Slow down, right? Because that was the prevailing culture within the organization. Yeah. When you build something and you are selective, and I think this is such a great lesson for our listeners and our viewers as well, is when you have a real vision for what you want to build, what that culture of that community is. And it's important to have the vision so that we are selecting and recruiting and evaluating prospects based on that criteria.
It's so good.
Avoiding a scarcity mindset.
I'm so excited because I just remembered my good friend, LeVar Burton. I think you know LeVar Burton.
Of course.
You've heard of LeVar. So LeVar is a good friend of mine. I got a chance to meet him at a big speech in Toronto, and he and his partner, Mark Wolf, who's a Hollywood producer, produced some great films. And of course, they were doing Reading Rainbow together. Yeah. And so anyway, they asked me, we were backstage, and I never met him before, and they said, hey, would you come listen to our speech? And I never listened to another person's speech, hardly ever, just because I've seen it, done it, Right. And you know, I got it. I don't want the pressure of me watching them and all that kind of stuff. And then they'll ask me what they think and so forth. I just don't like doing that. It's not my gig. I got my own mental stuff going on in my own head. But I went out and I listened to him because I really liked LeVar and I really liked Mark. Mark had this sarcastic kind of you know, caustic personality that I like. You know, it was always give and take and, you know, punching. And their first slide, they talked about their business. Their first slide was, we don't work with assholes. And I thought that's a great apropos. Yeah. I mean, life's too short. Why would you want to work with people who are sub than you? Why would you want to work with people who are negative? Why would you want to work with people who are pain in the ass? I don't want to work like that. I'm done. And I am like really clear. I mean, with our team here, you know, and our various offices in New York, South Dakota, and so forth, and around the rest of the country and world, is no, we're going to do it like this. And if you don't like it, you know, and somebody says, well, why are you doing it that way? And here's my response: because we can.
Right.
Because we can. That's my philosophy right now, and it has been for a long time. Because we can. We can do this because we can, and you know what? We can make it better, and we're going to do it better. And you know, David, because you've been working with me for a long time, I build things as I'm flying them. I'm flying the plane and building the frickin' plane at the same time. And, you know, I'm trying to make sure the parts don't fall off and the engine stays. I'm not going to crash it. Everybody knows me.
Right. I was going to say, give yourself a little bit more credit from that, because you're always going, you're always moving forward. I mean, you talk about that in your books as well, in terms of think big and act bigger, but you know where you're going. You're just recognizing opportunities as you go. I mean, I think you have your radar is always on and always attuned to a new opportunity. And let's talk about for a quick second, because we chatted about this in Dallas, the dot CEO. You mentioned it very, very briefly, but talk to me about that as an opportunity. And
it's something we saw. I saw that 8 years ago. 9 years ago, we saw the .co with top-level domains, and a partner of mine, a friend of mine, I was convinced him to buy some top-level domains. So he bought .co, just like .com, .biz, .gov, .nyu, .auto. They opened them up, and he bought .best, and he bought .cred, and he bought .co, and he bought one more. I can't remember which one the other one was. But and then you know, for the last 3 or 4 years, I haven't been able to partner on him with him. And then this last year, he called me, not more, literally, I can't remember when it was, In June, he called. He said, I'm going to be in San Francisco. I said, I'm in San Francisco that same day. Let's get together. He flies in. We meet in a hotel room, a hotel lobby. 30 minutes later, he and I are doing a deal. We've done it. We've got it done, because I love him.
You bought it from him.
We bought it together. So we own it together. We own it together. So because he recognizes that where I'm going to take it, it's going to have incremental great value. All right. He knows me well enough that when I get behind it, we're going to do. And look, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back.
No, but that's where you are. No false modesty.
This is like I know it. Okay. I've already 10x sales in 2 weeks. 10x sales in 2 weeks. So now you can buy your name. I was talking to a very famous CEO coach, very famous, huge. Thousands of people go to this person. And he said, I don't get it. Why would I want to buy my name? And I said to this person, I won't say his name, I said, you have been running this organization for years. Everybody knows you and knows that you're the CEO. Now, you're going to sell this business at some point. When you sell this business, your name is going to go from XYZ at company .com to AOL.com to Jim at 123 at AOL.com. And he goes, it was silence.
Right, because his name has traditionally been connected to the organization. Now what's he going to be connected to?
As a CEO, because he's a CEO or she's a CEO. You've earned it. Why wouldn't you own it?
Right.
And I just shut up, and it was silence. And then he said, oh, I get it. I want this now.
Right. And it also precludes somebody else from cyber squatting on that as well.
Totally get it. So you should not only buy your own name, you should buy your company plus that, or you want to own a category. So you can't get coach.com because I own it, or .co because I own it. I own them all. So I saw that, and I said, I want to buy that one. 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 And so I own hundreds of these on my own. Yeah, I personally put my own credit card down, and I bought them on my own, because I see the value in that. But if you wanted to own, let's say you were the CEO of, we'll use Kodak. you could have Kodak.co. Now you're an outbound, you're a CEO of a company that you want to show that you're as part of your brand, you're reachable. Now they know they can get a hold of the CEO directly, or you buy your name.co. Right. And of course, we're going to hang out pages. We're going to create wiki-like pages, because I'm sick and tired of being, some dweeb that I don't like can update my wiki page. And so I want to have places that I can control my own brand, my own destiny, and .co gives us that. And it's like right now, it's $149. It's like nothing.
It's nothing.
Yeah.
So how do you manage this burgeoning empire? How do you, yeah.
Good people. And the
Tell
other
me
thing,
more about it.
No, the good people. And the other thing is, I'm going to give Dan Burris some credit. You know Dan Burris, right?
Of course.
Yeah, he's a great futurist. And I was with Dan this summer in July. And so for a long time as a business person, I always believed I always had to do it myself. I had to build it myself,
Right.
And then he said, I got an idea for you, Jeff. And I said, what? And he goes, X is a service. I went, what the hell's that? And he goes, X is a service. You can do anything as a service. I go, oh my gosh. And it opened it up. I mean, here's an old dog learning new tricks right now.
Right.
And so it taught me I could go get other people to help me do this, and they could do it. And then we share, and just, holy crap, I don't have to just like build it, bring the staff on. Now I gotta have more money to do it with. And so I'm already forming partnerships. So that's why I'm doing C-Suite Publishing, so you can do your own books. I'm going to be doing C-Suite Academy. So we have Training Academy, and I'm going to take your courses and so-and-so's courses, and I'll put them all under somebody else, and somebody's going to help me run that. Awesome.
Right.
X is a service. And so, yeah, okay, that's what
but that's the other thing with this podcast, for example, on C-Suite Radio and so many of other friends and colleagues. It's a platform. We had platforms for podcasts, but putting a brand behind it.
Yeah.
One of the things that I appreciate how you've done it, and I think some people might look at that as a little braggadocious, but I think because you live up to it, the whole idea of this global business celebrity, making as part of your moniker, it's like it freaking fits because it's what you do.
Yeah, people said when we did it, I said, they go, what are we going to call you, Jeff? When I left Kodak, I was called the global celebrity CMO for a long time. Forbes put me on their magazine, named me that, the whole bit. That's how I got it. And then I said, well, we have to go beyond that. And I said, why don't you guys start just referring to me as a global business celebrity? I go, they said, what the hell does that mean? I said, whatever the hell we say it is.
Right. Well, it means what it is. And it's not like you're saying you're the only one. I mean, Michael Jackson could call himself the king of pop.
Yeah,
you're pop royalty. That works. Yeah, it works for me.
Yeah, I wish I could sing. I could dance. Michael could be. I don't want to do a lot of other things Michael did, but
we're not even going.
But I did appreciate his talent. His talent was the guy who could sing, man.
Hey, listen, I got to agree with my viewers, my listeners, that we're going to keep it to a certain basic time. But before we go, I want to take you through what I call the lightning round. Quick questions, quick answers. All right, lightning round. How many animals do you own? 0 right now. Really?
Yeah,
Did you not have horses?
I lost my last 2 horses over the last 6 months. Yeah, unfortunately.
Oh, that's
yeah. So and then I'm going to gear back up with some more horses, but I have none right now. And I'd love to have a dog, but I'm not home enough.
Right. I was going to say that's the other challenge is you can do it. You got to have.
But out my back door, I got eagles, I got coyotes, I got mountain lions, I got everything. Right outside my back door. I just look out. I see bald eagles every day.
Right. And the animals outside your place in New York are different.
No, rats. I got rats outside.
Yeah, there you go.
Rats. Although I did find a raccoon one day. I'm walking down
in New York.
In New York, I was at 39th and 6th Avenue, and I look up in the rafters, and there was this humongous raccoon. I mean, this was a boar raccoon, this thing weighed about 50 pounds. He was huge, living in the rafters at 39th and 6th Avenue. I couldn't believe it. I took a picture of him.
All right, lightning round.
Sorry.
When was the last time you spoke to the president?
This president a couple weeks ago.
Got it.
Yep.
You still believe in Bitcoin?
Yes.
Blockchain's gonna be a big deal.
Huge deal. I'm putting money down on that one.
You got a big payday coming to that. Tell me the best thing about your job.
Talking to people.
Best thing about being a grandfather.
Everything, man. There's nothing better.
Last question. What do they call you, your grandkids?
Papa. I'm Papa.
That's a conversation that you and I, at this point in our life, that we never really thought about. Like our grandparents were grandma and grandpa or whatever. And then everybody got divorced. So it was like Grandpa Joe and Grandma whatever and the last names. And now just that whole idea, because Mike, I don't have grandkids yet, but we're close to that, is that we start having that conversation. Like, what do you want to be called?
What's your grandparent name? Yeah, what's your
Right.
I saw a video about what's your grandmother's name. By the way, in my family, traditionally it's grandma and grandpa.
Yeah.
But I chose Papa, and the reason I chose Papa is my stepfather, who's been my stepfather for about about 39 years. And not related to me. My mother got married. I didn't even go to the wedding. And she married him when I was a junior in high school, and I was living on my own at the time. But my children, they're not his children. And my children called him Papa Gene, and he was the nicest man and still is. And he did more for my children than some of my own relatives did. And so that is respect for him. Never told that story, David. Never told that story.
Anybody ask you?
I've never told my family why I chose Papa. Never. That's the reason why. Right there. You heard that right here on C-Suite Radio.
There you go. Anybody ask you on a podcast what your grandkids call you? That kind of stuff. I think it's important. It's also
that's cool.
It's grounding.
You know what? That shows you pay attention, because that's a sign of a great look. I've been doing the interviewing, TV and podcasts for a long time, and and to be honest with you, I'm really good at it. I say that myself.
Sure. That's what you do.
Objectively. It's what I do, and I'm really good at it. And I could do it at a much bigger level. I could do this daily on a CNN if I wanted to, or some other thing, because I've been offered those things. And I don't want to do that, but I do like interviewing and so forth. But what you just did, it separates you from a lot of other radio hosts or podcast hosts, in that you've done your homework. You knew what I was talking about. You didn't know the answer to the horse question, but you knew I had horses. Yeah, you did. And because I keep a lot of, I don't tell a lot of people that stuff. There's some stuff I don't always share on social media.
Those are things that I think make these conversations a little more interesting, because it's just, and I get the opportunity, as you do, we get to talk to friends, people that we would like to be our friends, and have authentic conversations. I've probably been a guest on 100. You've probably been a guest on 1,000 podcasts, and so many of them are just that straight. You know what?
Oh, I hate it. Some of them I hate it. They say, well, tell me about yourself. And I usually start off, I was born a poor black man, and I really do that.
Here's what I love is they grab, I don't have one, I was going to try and find it, or they'll grab your book and they'll say, and they didn't do any prep work, and say, so on page 243, you
just grabbed a Uline calendar.
I do. Isn't that funny?
Is that a Uline? It is.
It is a Uline. I'm pretending.
I love looking at the Uline catalog.
I'm pretending it's a book. And you open up and say, listen, on page 247, you say blank and blank. What do you mean by that? It says, what it meant was that you did no research and you hadn't read my books or anything else. We've all done that. My book's coming out as well. Remind us what your book is that's coming out.
The Hero Factor. You want to learn about winning companies and big cultures and winning cultures? That's what the Hero Factor is all about.
Outstanding. They want to get in touch with you, learn more about you, learn about C-Suite Network. Where do they go?
There's my name right there on the screen. Jeffrey Hayzlett. You Google that. You can find me.
You are everywhere. A big thanks to my friend Jeffrey Hayzlett, global business celebrity, author, and great father and grandfather, and that's the best part of it for me as well.
Thank you, brother.
Appreciate everybody listening in. Check around on C-Suite Radio. Some of my colleagues, some friends, some other brilliant people. Subscribe to their podcast. Subscribe to mine as well. And we'll see you next time.
For past and future episodes, be sure to subscribe at theveryvisiblebusiness.com. You can also learn more about David Avrin's keynote speaking and consulting at visibilityinternational.com. Connect with us on social media and check out David Avrin's latest book, Visibility Marketing, at Amazon.com. This has been the Very Visible Business Podcast with David Avrin.